What's up, everybody? It's Chase here, and today we are going to be going over my Templar glass cannon for BGs. Alright, first of all, let's start with the basics, like always. Attributes. Everything put into Magicka. I am a Khajiit Templar. My alliance is Aldmeri Dominion, but that doesn't really matter. My crit damage is 79%. I very low resistance for pretty much everything. My critical healing 59%. But I have a lot of critical damage. For my food, I'm using the Ghastly Eyeballs for max Magicka and Magicka Recovery. For my Mundus Stone, I have the Shadow. Essence of Magicka Potions. For my first 5-piece set, I am using Order's Wrath. This is a lightning staff with a damage glyph and sharpened trait. By the way, please know that everything is gold and golden glyphs. Okay, so I'm using Order's Wrath. It gives me 657 critical chance, 129 weapon and spell damage, 657 critical chance, 943 critical chance. Increases your critical damage and critical healing by 8%. And then I have the Order's Wrath Arm Cops with Divines. Oh, by the way, this build is still a work in progress, but what you need to do for it is get golden Magicka glyphs on all of your armor. Don't use triglyphs. Use max Magicka. You need as much magic as possible for this build. And then I have the Order's Wrath necklace with Bloodthirsty and a increased magical harm glyph. Same thing with my Order's Wrath ring. And then for my other 5-piece set on my armor, I'm using the Deadly Strike. This adds 129 weapon and spell damage, 657 critical chance, 129 weapon and spell damage, increases the damage, your damage over time, and channeled attacks do by 15%. By the way, I'm going to use golden Magicka glyphs on everything. Oh, and for the armor, everything has to be medium. Because you want as much crit damage as possible on this setup. So yeah, Deadly Strike for every armor piece except for the shoulder. Shoulders is medium Order's Wrath. And then for my monster piece, I have the medium Slime Crawl helmet with Divines for the extra critical chance. And then my mythic of choice is the Oaken Soul Ring. I don't want to read all of this, but if you're new to ESO and you don't know what Oaken Soul is, then feel free to pause the video and read through it. But I'm just going to move on. So for my skills, I have Puncturing Sweep. This is your main spammable until your target gets below 50% health. And then you got an execute as your spammable. This is your shield, because it's a BG build, so you need a damage shield to keep you alive. And this is your execute. So when your target is below 50% health, you will use this as your spammable. This is your burst heal. And then because we're in a BG and we're encountering a lot of dead bodies when we kill the players, we're using this for more stamina sustain, so that way we can get dodge roll and block more often. But you need to get every passive for restoring light. Every passive except for enduring rays for Dawn's Wrath. Because this says increases the duration of your sun, fire, eclipse, solar flare, and nova abilities by 1%. And the only ability I'm using from Dawn's Wrath is Radiant Oppression, so you don't need that. Same thing with Arctic Spears. You gain minor protection for 3 seconds when activating an Arctic Spears ability. You don't need that. Because of Oaken Soul, we already have minor protection at all times. For my ultimate, I'm using Thunderous Rage. This is good if you're grouping up a big crowd of players and they don't suspect you're near them. You cast this and you can kill them all in seconds. You need every passive for Destruction Staff and medium armor, by the way. And I'm using a Khajiit because they get... Mainly the reason why I'm using this is the increased critical damage. High Elf would also work with this, as well as the Breton. But by far the best race for this build would be Khajiit, because they're the only one with a crit damage bonus. But High Elf would be good, because the High Elf takes less damage when using a channeled attack, and both of your spammables are channeled attacks. And also the Breton would be better for sustain. If you're struggling with sustain, a Breton would be a good option, because this is a magic build. Alright, now champion points. I should probably purchase this real quick. Hang on. That doesn't really matter. I'm just doing that for the thrill of it. So, you need at least 15 into this. Max out Breakfall. Max out Steadfast Enchantment. Rationer, Liquid Efficiency, Steed's Blessing, and Professional Upkept. These all need to be slotted at all times. Alright, so Wrathful Strikes, Fighting Finest. Don't worry about Arcane Supremacy, that one's optional. You need Biting Aura. And I do not know how to pronounce that. But this will increase the damage done with your damage over time effects. Arcane Supremacy is optional, but if you want to replace something with it, then I would say replace that. I'll come into here, max out all of these. And now max out that skill with Blessed. And usually if I'm in PvP, people tell me that I don't need this. Well, I find that it still comes in handy even in PvP. Because take Sorks, for example, their pets do not count as players. So your damage reduction will still apply when you're getting attacked by them. Alright, so you need Boundless Vitality, Spirit Mastery, Bastion. Come in here, max this out. Get Pain's Refuge, Hero's Vigor, max out Hasty. Celerity is optional, but if you're going to replace it with, or if you're going to replace something with it, then I would say Spirit Mastery. You only need to use Spirit Mastery if you're in PvE, really. But max out all of these, and then come into here and max this out. And then there's... Alright, I guess that wraps it up for this build. I hope it helps you out as much as it did me. And as always, it's been Chase, and peace out.